Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me on Moonlight Legends, where we discuss everything supernatural. I'm your host, Damian Knoll. It appears that the electrical storms have finally ended, therefore we should no longer have any complications in the future. Tonight's story starts like many others from the past. On Hatteras Island in North Carolina, there is a tree that has a local legend attached to it. In the early 1700s, a woman arrives to this island with only her baby. She lives in a small hut in the forest away from the other people who were building a community closer to the coast. It wasn't because she was a single mother that caused the other people of the island to become suspicious of her, since it was fairly common since most husbands in this area were sailors. No, it was the unusual things that seemed to happen around her. Reports said that cows she touched would dry up and become sick. When fishing became scarce, Cora still managed to catch enough for her and her child. And when a local boy from the town made fun of her kid, legend says that he got so sick that he almost died. These things easily cause people to talk, and in times like this, it was easy to label a woman like Cora a witch. Unfortunately for Cora, around the same time a ship nearby had run around and its crew stayed in the town until they had it fixed. The captain of the ship was named Eli Blood. During his stay, he got to know many people from the town, and he heard the stories of Cora. The general consensus was that she was a witch, and her baby was her familiar. Now, Captain Eli Blood wasn't just any other captain. He and his crew were from Salem, Massachusetts, and Eli claimed to know and study under Cotton Mather. For those of you who don't remember your Salem witch trial facts, Cotton Mather was a Puritan minister who was an influential voice in support of the trials. Eli said that he was a white witch, and that he also had familiars who he used to find dark magic beings in the area. Eli Blood considered himself a witch hunter. Nothing was done about Cora until one day a dead man washed up on the shore of the island. There were no marks showing what had caused his death. There were some clues, however. This man's hands were clasped together as if he was begging, and his face showed fear. In his forehead had been carved the numbers 666, and there were small human footprints leading from him to the forest. It was decided that Eli Blood was the best to investigate, and it didn't take long for everyone to point their fingers at Cora. He gathered his men and went searching in the woods for her. When they found her, she was cooking a meal for herself and the child. The men took both of them back to town. But before we continue with the story tonight, here's a song.
The clock is striking 5. I walk and face the floor. Lord, in my heart I know she won't be home no more. I see her closet's empty and all our money's gone. She's gone off with another and left me here alone. Oh, Maxine, 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 please, please come home to me. I don't know why she left me with some man she's taking flame. Always tried to keep her happy through the days and through the nights. I know that she is gone now. Seems there's nothing I can do, but I got to try to find her or die here with these blues. Oh, Maxine, 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 please, please come home to me. Come home, Maxine. The sun won't ever shine again if I can't find that girl. My heart is sad and lonely, and my mind is in a whirl. My wallet, it is empty. On my face there is a frown. If she don't come back to me, I'm gonna jump in the river and drown. Oh, Maxine, 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 please, please come home to me. Come back, baby, come back. 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 Come back. Come back. Come back, baby, come back. Come back.
Welcome back. You were listening to Moonlight Legends, and that last song was Maxine by Birds of Paradise. As a quick refresher before the song, Eli and his men found Cora and her child and took them back to the town, accusing her of murder by using witchcraft. The captain's first test to see if Cora was a witch was to tie up her limbs and put her in the shallow water. If she floated, that meant she was a witch. And considering it must have been low tide, there was no possibility of her sinking. After that, Eli took his knife and attempted to cut Cora's hair, but was unsuccessful. He claimed it was as tough as wire, more proof that she was a witch. Eli's final test was to have all the men of his crew prick their fingers and drip their blood into a bowl of water. He stirred it with his knife until it frothed. He then began to chant words that no one else understood and read the liquid in the bowl. What he read out confirmed that Cora was indeed a witch. With this final confirmation, Eli and his men gathered firewood and branches. Cora and her child were tied to an oak tree, ready to be burned alive. As the story has been told, when the captain with his torch was ready to set the tree on fire, another captain named Tom Smith spoke up. Captain Smith argued that they must take her to the mainland for a proper trial in the civil court. As the men had their disagreement, the previously clear blue sky darkened. The child twisted and turned in agony before it turned into a large black cat with piercing green eyes. In shock, Eli lunged forward to light the fire, but at the same moment, a streak of lightning shot down and hit the tree. The hit created a large cloud of smoke around Cora. Once the smoke finally cleared, there was no sign of Cora or her familiar. The rope was still tied around the tree, the branches and the kindling undisturbed. The only sign left of Cora's existence was 4 distinct letters freshly burned into the tree. C-O-R-A. Cora. Now you may have already heard of this area off the coast of North Carolina, because only a little bit north of Hatteras Island is the island that was once the home of the lost colony of Roanoke. This is by far the most well-known legend from this area. In 1587, headed by John White, a second attempt was made to colonize the island of Roanoke after the first failed in 1585. White took a trip back to England for supplies. It was supposed to only take 3 months for his return to the island, but instead he ended up being delayed for 3 years. Once he finally returned, the entire settlement was gone. The only sign left of any human life existing on the island was the etching on a tree that simply said, Croatoan. The word Croatoan wasn't new to John White, which was the same name of an island to the south, an island that had since been renamed to Hatteras Island. White made several attempts to sail to the island, but was prevented each time due to the poor weather conditions. Eventually, John White had to give up his search and return to England, never knowing what had happened to his colony. Sorry for there only being one story tonight. It was kind of a long one. But anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in to Moonlight Legends. I have been your host, Damian Knoll, and have a good night.